Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of Chapter 11 of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone titled Quidditch. We start off with Harry, Ron, and Hermione in the corridor, kind of reading through history, Quidditch through the ages. Hermione's got this blue fire in a jar. And then Snape comes limping along. And they tried to hide the blue fire because they know it's not really going to be allowed. Snape comes over because they just look guilty, I guess. Clocks in the book of all things, says library books are not allowed out of school bounds, and takes 5 points off. Honestly, I think he was just looking for a reason and decided he was angry that he was hurt, so he was looking for a reason to take it out on something. So he just did that. Harry devises a plan to get the book back by going to the teacher's lounge, thinking Snape can't get mad if there's other teachers. Only to, find Snape in the loving hands of Filch, who Snape is showing his bloody leg. Well, Snape is complaining about the dog, and Harry's chased off. Now, two things. One, why would Snape go to Filch and not Madame Pomfrey? Is Madame Pomfrey just for the students, or is Madame Pomfrey just for the students, and she just looks at all the injured teachers and thinks, yeah, you're on your own. I'm paid for the kids, not you. And also, why is Snape injured in the first place? Because we know he's actively protecting the stone. We know he's suspicious of Quirrell, so we know that's why he was checking on Fluffy, because he's suspicious of Quirrell at this point, basically. So why didn't he just get Hagrid, not tell him anything, just say, hey, let's double check Fluffy, make sure he's doing all right. Hagrid wouldn't see anything wrong with it. Dumbledore trusts Snape, and Hagrid trusts Dumbledore, so of course he trusts Snape. I just feel like Snape would have a bit more self-preservation than to stare a three-headed dog in the face alone. I just kind of feel like this whole scene was a bit convoluted to make him seem like a red herring. Especially since later on in the chapter, there's a better way that makes him seem like a red herring. During the Quidditch match, which is kind of boring, I've never liked reading about the Quidditch. We do meet the rest of the Gryffindor Quidditch team, the Chasers, Angelina Spinnet, Katie Bell, and Alicia Spinnet, Angelina Johnson, and Katie Bell. Lee Jordan, the commentator. And we find out, of course, this Slytherin Quidditch team cheats, because can't be any good guys in that house. Not yet, anyways. Well, then for some reason the point of view kind of changes to Ron and Hermione's, which doesn't really happen that often. It happened in the first chapter when we followed Vernon Dursley. And I know in the Half-Blood Prince, the first chapter of the Half-Blood Prince is basically Fudge and the Muggle Prime Minister. But I think those are the other two besides this one I can think of. I could be wrong. I just don't know why it was changed, because nothing really that happened while we followed Ron and Hermione, they couldn't have been told Harry, which they did. They later told Harry later in the chapter, basically. All they did was they saw Harry getting bucked around on his broom, and they thought it was being cursed. So Hermione locked eyes with Snape, and Snape was muttering what we later found out was the counter curse. So they decided to charge in, and Snape and Hermione, using the blue fire that was mentioned earlier in this chapter, lit Snape's robe on fire, while also luckily knocking into Quirrell, who was actually cursing Harry's broom, so to stopping him. Again, this could have been the thing that made us suspicious of Snape. We didn't need Snape kind of being temporarily stupid and attempting to fight a three-headed dog. Well, they tell Harry this, and then they bring this to Hagrid. And Hagrid says, "How do you know about Fluffy?" This man named the dog Fluffy? Because of course he did. Yeah, it's Hagrid. I mean, I shouldn't be shocked. Of course it's Fluffy. Well, he also mentions that he got it from a Greek guy, which, you know, considering what Cerberus is from Greek mythology, I think was kind of funny. And I think it'd have been funnier if he just said, "I got it from a Swedish man," or something like that, you know? Instead of saying, "I got it from an Italian," or "I got it from a Greek," he should have just said, "Oh, I got it from some Swedish dude." That would have just been funny, a funny throwaway line, but you know, okay. Greek. And then Hagrid, being the worst secret keeper ever, just basically divulges that, of course there's something in there, but that's between Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel. Oh, man, I wasn't supposed to say that. Also, another thing, I mentioned in the review of the last chapter how I felt like the Quidditch practice between Harry and Wood could have been its own separate thing, and I felt like it could have just been added to this chapter. Because if I remember correctly, the training between Wood and Harry was only like an extra page or two. Yeah, could have just been added to this one. I might just be thinking about the whole Snape thing too into the Snape thing too much, but why would he go to the teacher's lounge to Snape and Filch to be banished, not like Madame Pomfrey? Or why wouldn't he just do it I don't know. Or why would he check the Cerberus alone? I just feel like, you know, he'd be smart enough to think of a reason not to sound suspicious why he'd want to check it, and he should. And I say that, and the reason is he needs to check his own protections, you know? I don't know. I'm giving this chapter a 4 out of 10. I just never liked the Quidditch aspect of reading the Quidditch book in the books, but I did like it in the movies. I wish they'd had more in the movies, because from the Quidditch we got from the movies, I did enjoy it. I just didn't like reading about them. Overall, I'll give this chapter a 4 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.